I wasn't quite ready, but let's just fix this. Hello, everybody. What's going on? Dragon Ranger, Chemical Knee Rub, Michael, what's going on? Giselle, good to see you. Yeah, this should be fun. Central Mass. What's up, everybody? Mystic Meemaw, good to see you. What's up, everybody? Good to see you guys. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Friday, cheers. I'm just going to be going over one of my favorite legends. The more I read about it, it's a very weird one. It's very different. It has a lot to do with Philosopher's Stone, as above, so below. A whole bunch of stuff with the Emerald Tablet. Uh, I wrote a whole thing out. And yeah, Merry Christmas, Merry Krampus not. That was a few days ago on the 5th, Krampus Day. I watched a few things on that. What's everybody up to? How is everybody? Hope you're having a good holiday. You get all the presents you want and foods and shopping done you need. Thanks for sharing out stuff, Michael. Thanks for my card too. Mike sent me a card. I'll probably be using that soon. Merry Christmas. This one is really interesting. Let's talk about the Emerald Tablet. I've done a good amount of conspiracy theories, and this is it's more of a mystery, and there is some literature on it, like actual people have written about this old legend. It has to do with Atlantis and a whole bunch of stuff. This is kind of just cliff notes on it. So, the Emerald Tablet and the secrets to eternal life or unlimited wealth. The alchemists got the info from the Arabs 1,000 years ago. The but the Arabs got their info from the Egyptians 2,000 years before that. And it is said that the Egyptians got the ancient knowledge 36,000 years before that. Probably from the Atlantis people, the Atlanteans. This gets a little crazy and like really far fetched, but I do love these kind of legends and stuff, so. You got a brand new TV? Nice. Mystic Meemaw. I'd send it to you to Discord, but I can't DM you, Michael. Spectral Whispers, hello. Good to see you. Susan, too. Yeah, thank you for coming in, you guys. Let's see. So, after the people learned about this legend of the Emerald Tablet, which is just like a tablet, like maybe bigger than a piece of paper, but it doesn't have much written on it. It's just supposed to have the key to eternal life and unlimited wealth. The alchemists 1,000 years ago, and the Arabs told the alchemists about this, and that's like before science. The science didn't really exist. They were trying to turn base metals like lead and iron into gold, or be able to change things like that. What else did I write? Uh, the knowledge of Atlantis may be the key for the Philosopher's Stone and on the Emerald Tablet said to turn lead into lead or iron substances into gold. Early chemistry started from alchemy. Isaac Newton, even for 30 years, decided he was going to study the writings of these people that wrote about the tablet and the secrets that he was obsessed for 30 years. Wisdom, what great song. And some of those are really awesome, man. Isaac Newton decided to study the Philosopher's Stone and the works of the Emerald Tablet and made his own translations of the notable tablet. Studies today and other notable scientists like John Dee and Edward Kelly studied it. I believe a king even commissioned them. Rudolph the second commissioned them, gave them unlimited budget to study it as much as possible and like see if they could turn iron lead into gold or unlimited life, like Fountain of Youth stuff, the Philosopher's Stone. So that's really cool. They had an unlimited budget to study it. Nicholas Flamel, you might know Nicholas Flamel, was said to be one of the men that actually figured out the Philosopher's Stone and the writings from other people to actually create a Philosopher's Stone and lived forever. I thought it was Elizabeth the First. I don't know. I just wrote down some stuff that I was watching. There's a lot of info, and a lot of this is conjecture. Just like, who knows? Because some of the stuff that happens with the stone, I don't think we've ever found the Emerald Tablet, but we do have people that wrote about the mystery of the Emerald Tablet and Philosopher's Stone, as above, so below. The whole thing is crazy. I only wrote like 4 pages, but we'll see. Uh, Nicholas Flamel, in the beginning of the Renaissance, was said to find the Philosopher's Stone, or he actually created it. Legend goes he's still alive today, and this all started with the Emerald Tablet. The Egyptian god Thoth, or Thoth was the god of magic, the moon, wisdom. He was also the creator of hieroglyphs, depicted with a bird head, like an bird head. So you see the Egyptians worshiping this god Thoth, and they believed he might have actually come from Atlantis himself. They're not really sure. Yeah, John Dee's the Queen's Conqueror. That is cool. Um, what was I saying? The bird head. He was also the creator of hieroglyphs. Thoth was worshipped for 5,000 years before the ancient Egyptian pharaohs. Thoth was also said to create writing, the hieroglyphs. He wrote Egyptian Book of the Dead. He also said to be the inventor of science, religion, philosophy, and alchemy. The Greeks also helped invent the alphabet, but he was the first to create like our actual alphabet. There's so much just to Thoth alone. Thoth was also said to arrive in Egypt from Atlantis. Plato said Atlantis was divided into 10 different kingdoms, and it was said that the children of light lived on the Atlantis Islands, or Atlanteans. Said to be the immortals or even reincarnators. After like each 100 years they could reincarnate. In the Hayek of Amanti in Atlantis, Thoth was thought to be hidden knowledge of the tablet, but 13,000 years ago, the Great Flood destroyed Atlantis, very similar to the Younger Dryas period, where we had a wood event that shows we did have a huge flood. So around the same time of that, this type of legend, the world did flood, and something happened where it was cataclysm. So they lost the tablet. Thank you, Susan, very much, Central Mass. I love this kind of legend where it's like has to do with Philosopher's Stone and Emerald Tablet. I mean, we do find things like the Dead Sea Scrolls and other scrolls, the Copper Scrolls. We find stuff all the time. I do think we could keep looking. We might actually eventually find something like this, and it might have some of the info about some really crazy magical stuff. But 13,000 years ago, Thoth was sent out to teach his ancient knowledge to the human race. A place called Kem, but now today we know it as Egypt. Thoth also took the tablet and carved it out of green emerald, or some said different substance. Like instead of green emerald, it was could have been made carved out of orichalcum, which was a rare earth metal only found usually in Atlantis. A more to a more immortality and much more written on the tablet. The oldest known mention of the Emerald Tablet comes from 1200 years Arabic text, but it comes from even older text. Aborigines in the first century studied the book with odd language and symbols. Apollonius, the searcher for the answers to find the writer of the book, going to an oracle, he was told to go to a hidden cave under a statue of Hermes, and that was in Egypt. The Tenenu Apollonius found his corpse, and the writer of the tablet, Hermes, Apollonius took the book and the tablet from the skeleton. He was found under a statue in Egypt on a hidden cave or tunnel, and he found a book, like a book of different scrolls of magic, and then he also found the Emerald Tablet. Um, some say the tablet was lost again after Apollonius wrote about the tablet and took it to Hadrian. So there was another guy, Hadrian, that actually was buried under his statue, the big statue of Hadrian. Some say the Emerald Tablet was in the Library of Alexandria when it burned down. Some people actually talk about Julius Caesar burned down the um, Library of Alexandria. Now, we do have some evidence for things that may be part of the Library of Alexandria, like old ruins underground, different rooms. They've found some tablets and scrolls and stuff. There's a lot that we haven't uncovered yet. Ancient civilizations that we just don't know about. Which is true. I mean, all the time we're finding different stuff that proves that we had technology beyond what we ever knew in the past in history. You cooking bacon? I believe it is the same Hadrian's Wall that he built that, and there's a lot that some is just conjecture and doesn't really make sense, but it actually does if you look up all the info. It gets crazier. Uh, some say the Emerald Tablet was in the Library of Alexandria. Another that the Knights Templar might have taken the tablet. It could have been under the secret vaults of the Vatican. There's so many like stories about where the tablet went and like that the history and the magic of this thing to find the Philosopher's Stone was actually hidden on purpose. Some legends say the Great Pyramids were built to protect the Emerald Tablet, and the Great Pyramids nowadays, we did just figure out, I think it's actually confirmed by 4 different companies that the scans do show they have columns underneath, big rooms. There's a whole thing underneath the Pyramid of Giza. Um, Maybe we did hide something in the pyramids and it was to, secret information, the Emerald Tablet, stuff like that. Let's see. The Great Pyramids were built to protect the Emerald Tablet. On March 11th, 2011, a book came out and a thing online came out that was the Book of Aquarius, Alchemy and the Philosopher's Stone, written by an anonymous writer. The first pages say, "The age of secrets is over, no need for mystical language or metaphor. The book contains no hidden meanings or codes. It is stated clearly and directly. The book had a recipe to make the Philosopher's Stone." Now, this is where it goes all a bit crazy. So stay with me. The book uh, had 165 pages and recipes. The book had a recipe to make the Philosopher's Stone. It had 49 alchemic text and 165 pages. The books say that one ingredient for the stone is all in people. The ingredient is pee or urine. The book was released to unlock 12,000-year-old secrets. So you take pee and you distill it and it ferments and then you do it again and you do something else and it takes 3 to 8 years. Step-by-step instructions to make the Philosopher's Stone. Ancient alchemists did use urine in a lot of their endeavors for secret spells and different, all things like food, blood, air. The search to dawn on a hermetic order. So that just goes off the rails there for a second, where you take pee to make a Philosopher's Stone. I thought that was hilarious. The Secret Order of the Golden Dawn and the Hermetic Order are a real secret society. Aleister Crowley and many famous men like John Dee and some other people, like even the Freemasons have stuff like it that have to do with secrets of the Emerald Tablet or the secrets like that of as above, so below. It gets weird. The name Golden Dawn references, the golden color and when the best time to get it is. I thought that was hilarious. Uh, It is said to take 3 to 8 years to create a Philosopher's Stone. Many people have tried distilling this and doing this process. You're supposed to eat the substance once completed. I don't know if I'd eat that. But would it give you eternal life or ultimate wealth? I don't know about that. So there are a lot of things that we have been finding under the pyramids. We've had things dug up. I mean, Göbekli Tepe, the Dead Sea Scrolls. There's so much copper scrolls, and things we've never seen before that kind of talk about some of things like this. Hi, Leanne the cleaner. Thank you for coming. Um, this one is funny. I thought this was crazy because now we're starting to learn a little more about the pyramids and like maybe there were power systems of some sort or like there is stuff showing that we have columns under the pyramid going 3,500 feet down and there's rooms down there. Um, so possibly there were power plants. I believe that. I think that could be true. And they're all over the world. We don't know all the pyramids. A lot of them are hidden in South America and all over the world, everywhere. Which gets crazier because maybe we did hide stuff in the pyramids. And then you got to think if it was in the hidden Library of Alexandria and that got burned down, it just disappeared through that one. And people believe Julius Caesar in a raid in like 49 BC. I believe actually I can't remember exact dates. I didn't write everything down, but it was a weird thing to like learn. Okay, maybe the Knights Templar took the tablet and hid it. Then you start to think, all right, what? There's TV shows, Oak Island. Maybe that's what's buried on Oak Island, the Curse of Oak Island. You can go any which way you want with this. This is why I think I love this one so much. Because it involves so much. It involves Knights Templar, secret societies, the Freemasons, pyramids. Uh, Alexander the Great may have taken it. Who knows? It gets even weirder. Like, I think I'm towards the end of what I wrote, but just talking about all this stuff gets me, like, excited to think about what else we might dig up and find. Over the years now, we've already found a whole bunch of different things that is like, well, the 12 Dead Sea Scrolls. Yeah, we found them. And that was a legend. If I find the Emerald Tablet, I'll give out some everlasting life. Uh, People have done this. I've seen it online. I've seen it on YouTube. Trying to create the Philosopher's Stone. I don't know if I'd eat my fermented pea, and it would take 3 to 8 years. Jeez. What's up, Rob? Nice to see you, dude. Rob Linklater. I believe one day we will find this tablet. Oh, another thing. Um, the possibility of a man that maybe got the Philosopher's Stone or got some info and was able to live forever was the Count of Saint Germain, said to be seen over 100 different years at the same age at different events in high society. He was born in the 1700s, and then he was seen in the 19th century in Paris, in the 20th century in New Orleans. So, like nowadays, he's been spotted. So I thought that would be fun to talk about. There's a few other people that, you know, Nicholas Flamel from like Harry Potter. You might know that he was supposedly one of the people that actually figured out the secrets of the Emerald Tablet and those writings that, like Atlantean technology. I like that some people said that the green color was actually orichalcum, a different substance, like a type of metal that only was on Atlantis, and the Emerald Tablet's not actually emerald. He created the Sorcerer's Stone. Hi, hon. Yeah, so I read through some of this. I'm just going to chat for a little while longer. It's so crazy how many things are on this.
You're fine.
All right.
You can have your little holiday hangout.
So, with all of that, I do think some of this has to tie in with the hidden pyramids. Some of, there's ones that are supposedly in Antarctica. Some of There was like a grid that was connected. The Saint Germain one's like a whole nother conspiracy theory. This guy that lived over like 1,000 years and never aged. He knew different writings, like 40 different languages. He would also have knowledge of all musical instruments and like tell stories and impress all these people, but he never aged. Everybody would see him at like 35, 40 years old, and it was high society people usually. Some have said it's like a trick, but maybe he did unlock some secrets from the alchemists and got some philosopher's stone. I do have alchemist table and symbols. So this is fun. So you can see some of the alchemist symbols, and like each one for every substance on Earth is a different one. The table, zodiac symbols and processes, other processes, elements. You got for everything from mercury, gold, everything is like the periodic table. So that was our first like periodic table before real science, which I thought was really cool. Very interesting one on this thing. A lot of them are just like water, air, fire, mercury, gold. You get zinc, dram, scruple, pint, pinch, crucible. There's so many things that just mean, yeah, like water bath, winter, summer, that tells you like a whole thing with different symbols. That's fun. And I've always liked alchemy and like maybe the secrets of what we don't understand from the past has always interested me. And I think maybe Atlantis was real. I believe in Africa or something, the Eye of Africa might have held a place that had. That's my most looked at. Like, I've always looked at different areas and seen different people talk about different areas where Atlantis might have been. But Plato even talked about Thoth, the god, and they worshipped the god Thoth because he was writing and hieroglyphs. He did all sciences, but back then it was alchemy. So I always thought that was interesting. Let's see. Yeah, so we still haven't found the Emerald Tablet, but the Golden Dawn Order, Hermetic Order, is still around actually, and the Secrets of the Society. Aleister Crowley got involved, so that's really interesting. If you have somebody that's like, you know, really into all that magic and stuff, with John Dee and I forget the other people. There's like Alfred Bacon, so like he was like a ruler of some kind or like a high up guy that they got commissioned to actually go look and find more info on this. Let's see if I can find the names. So the Book of the Dead was by Thoth and Alchemy Greeks. Where's I put the name? Green. So Hermes, or yeah, that was the Younger Dryas is a really interesting one too because if the story goes that there was a great flood that destroys Atlantis, also 13,000 years ago, we have evidence of that, and that's called the Younger Dryas. The Apollonius that actually was searching for this stuff. When he went to the oracles and was told to actually look under uh, the statue of Hermes in Tianu. See, I even wrote words I can't even read that I wrote myself. It gets like so crazy. I would love to find some magic. Yeah, and another one that I think I want to talk about is the Count of Saint Germain. That might be another one that I go over because if he kept appearing in high society from 1700 to now, basically, so he showed up 1700s, you know, did a whole bunch of stuff, could speak any language, play any instrument, and impressed all these kings and queens. And then he also showed up 19th century in Paris and impressed all those people just saying his name was the Count of Saint Germain. Maybe he was like one of those people that figured out the actual secrets of life and the Emerald Tablet. Now we have other things like the Voynich manuscript that we have no idea what that actually means. We still don't really know. We've like looked at it and it's a lot of plants and different symbols and magic spells and ladies in tubs and different weird things drawn in this book. I think that might be from so far back we have forgotten the technology or what that even means. That's like part of Atlantis lore. You have so many things that tie into this one emerald tablet from thousands of years ago. If Thoth learned from the Atlanteans and then went to Egypt, which is a cryptid guy. They depict him as a cryptid in Egyptian lore with a bird head. Um, those kind of legends are probably the more like top insane legends, but it's also where are we getting all this stuff? How is the flooding? Like, okay, we have some evidence that yes, the flood did happen. We do have some proof of ancient society that had technology we don't know about nowadays in Egypt. We've just proven it. If stuff is buried under Egypt, we had no clue they could do that type of architecture, that work that for that long ago. it's getting to the point where we're like on the tipping edge of actually finding out some more about our ancient history, our ancient civilizations that had better technology than we did. Obviously, that it's very far fetched to think you could take pee and make a philosopher's stone. I get it. Alchemy is like that. It's turning iron and lead into gold, but it's still so interesting. It's probably one of my like. It's funny. It's weird. Later, Mystic Meemaw. Thanks for coming. There are theories that Atlantis could have been included in just off the east coast of the U.S. I remember seeing, if I remember right, it's possible. Bimini Road off of Florida. They have some weird structures. That was Dragon Ranger. I did put up some. I have a tiny Christmas tree. My elf, my other elf, hanging next to the merman skeleton. I got a little bit of Christmas in here. Merry Christmas, all. Today's magic is tomorrow's science. I mean, if you're thinking like we didn't have things back then, I do believe Egyptians had some type of electricity. They've never found burn marks in a pyramid from torches or anything. We've already like learned about that, and they put a gold capstone on it. Usually they'd be lined with a limestone, so it was bright white. The pyramids wouldn't have looked like they do today. That would also reflect light to keep the heat out. They've found weird rooms underneath with like would probably be full of acid vats. So yeah, creating power, even if you just had water running over limestone and different crystal, the piezoelectric, piezoelectric uh, action, it's static electricity built up in crystal and rock that can actually create electricity. Then if you add acid and an iron rod and you dig down, there's something else called the Stubblefield Earth battery, where if you dig down, you put a coil into the ground. That's what they're saying now that is under the pyramids. So they probably had light bulb electricity in a way. Now, what was the orichalcum? That was another thing that I was when I heard about that. I was like, that's very interesting because I don't know if we've ever found anything like that. I know we do have weird metals. If you watch like Aquaman, I think that's in that new Aquaman movie. But that we do find things all the time that we have never seen before, like different metals and bases, unobtainium. So these things are very interesting. Once we found the Dead Sea Scrolls, it's kind of similar where, okay, we found giant squid. So yeah, there are sea creatures that are like monsters. All right, so that's not all legend. We did have some sea monsters that aren't just all legend. There's 100-foot squid. I love the fact that over time we've just continued to find things that we don't understand in the scientific field, but we do have things nowadays that show we do understand magic in a way. There's things created all the time, like a star in a jar is possible now. I've seen that last year, and they can create a tiny air bubble that is so hot and so like bright it's actually like a little neutron star, and they can contain it in a jar. Small things like that, that's magic. That would be magic to people back in the day. Today, I mean, thousands of years ago. To me, that means it's magic. Scientifically, we know how it works, but there's still a lot we don't know about our own Earth. We really don't. The Order of the Golden Dawn is another really interesting one. I looked into that a little bit, and there are other orders that I'd like have to do with the, alchemy or the Hermetic Order. Many secrets. I love that part of it too. The Golden Dawn. Apollonius was searching for the answers to find the writer of the book. When he went to the statue of Hermes, he went underneath, and after he actually went and got the Emerald Tablet and this book, he took it and actually resealed the cave so nobody would ever find the cave again. But it was said that Hermes was sitting in a golden chair in Tenu, which Tenu was probably in Egypt. Same thing with the hidden library of Alexandria. That's another one that I just absolutely love. I think 2 weeks ago I saw some evidence that we might have found some like underground. They're not tombs or anything. There were just some scrolls and some tablets and different rooms underground, and it's in the right area off the Mediterranean Sea that may be part of the Library of Alexandria. Which, if that's true, which it could be, it would be amazing. The library held 40,000 to 700,000 scrolls and books. I think I'm skipping the page because I didn't even read about that really, but and then that book in 2011 that came out, it was online. The Book of Aquarius with the alchemy and the Philosopher's Stone, written by an anonymous writer, actually disappeared offline after I think a year. Or it just disappeared and they took it offline. I don't. The book is out there. I know that, but they basically give you like instructions and like tell you this is what like old philosophers were writing about. You're talking Isaac Newton. You're talking like Sir Bacon. Like famous people studied the Philosopher's Stone and the Emerald Tablet texts from all those ancient times, which is crazy. And the fact King Rudolph II gave unlimited funds to find out about more about the Emerald Tablet and like all of this, I thought was very interesting. And like the pyramid stuff, I've always thought, yeah, there's pyramids all the way around the world. A lot of them we don't get to see. They're buried. They're in the jungles. If we did have a power grid system and the unlimited power of the Emerald Tablet has all info of unlimited life, unlimited wealth. You can, basically magic spells on it, and it's just a tablet. And some say we will find it at the right time when Earth and people are ready to learn the knowledge again. Um, but what if we've already found it and they hid it? Because that's pretty much how they do do it with everything. If the higher ups find it, they don't tell us about it. Magical P. Yeah, Michael. the, the recipe is there. People have tried to make the Philosopher's Stone, and I guess you ferment your pea for long enough, it turns white and then turns a deep red after a certain amount of time over different distilling. It's all alchemy, like that little sign I have here. Um, if we could turn iron into gold and like steel, that would be amazing. I don't think we'd have, money problems anymore if we had that. Hi, Sarah Bowman. Thank you for coming. What's up? So, if you guys missed all of the beginning of this, it's okay. I'm still talking about the weirdness of the Emerald Tablet and the Philosopher's Stone. So, the main thing the actual stone says is as above, so below, as below, as above. It's hard. That's hard to say. But with somebody from, so that was, I believe, 312 AC or something. Apollonius was the one that actually talked to an oracle, went down under an old statue of Hermes, and found the tablet and a book in the hands of Hadrian, and it was buried under the palace. And possibly taken to the Library of Alexandria, which was then burnt down possibly by Julius Caesar in like 49 BC or AC. I can't remember. But then this all like culminates into all right, so our very beginning of science had magic spells. You're talking everlasting life if you got the Philosopher's Stone. A lot of people say that maybe it is still in one of the pyramids, maybe not under the Great Pyramid, maybe just under a different one. The big one I was like conspiring about was maybe the Knights Templar did, they were around back then and disappeared. And then the Curse Island has something major buried on it. Some say it's the golden menorah of the, like, King Solomon's tomb or something. There's so much more. This spreads out into 20 different conspiracy theories. It gets crazy. So you're talking Egyptian magical, you're talking Greek, you're talking gods with Thoth and Thoth creating, writing hieroglyphs, made the book about the Philosopher's Stone and unlimited wealth. Um, yeah, I would like it. Can I get some Philosopher's Stone? Yeah, you gotta put pea in and distill it for 3 years, and then I have seen some other videos on YouTube of people trying to do what the Alchemist cookbook says. Basically, that was like 2011. They decided, oh, we have the information there from the Emerald Tablet. March 11th, 2011, book came out, the Book of Aquarius, which when I first heard about that, that was a few years ago. I was like, "What are they talking about? There's no way, right?" But maybe it gets so freaking weird. No evidence of the tablet till this day has been found, but different scholars and throughout history have written. Even Plato wrote about Atlantis, Thoth, and the magical knowledge, or the orichalcum, which could power a whole town. Like that's probably what powered stuff. And if the emerald tablets made out of orichalcum, that's amazing. Like, what's the substance they're talking about that possibly powered Atlantis? So I would like to know more about this. Not lemonade flavored. The alchemists had some weird. They also used like actual mercury and a lot of bad like explosions. A lot of weird stuff happened to alchemists back in the day. Even like to the point where people would die because you were playing with stuff that you were trying to mix. And a lot of I believe it was Nicholas Flamel that's the only one that was said to you know live for hundreds of years. And he's what, Harry Potter. Everybody knows him from Harry Potter.
Is B in the group chat?
Yeah.
Ask her what the original first Harry Potter was
Well,
called.
like John Dee and even Aleister Crowley was involved in this magical like the writings go from this to that. Like then there's a guy, the Count of Saint Germain, that was said to be seen at the same age for over 100 years in different situations. So 1700s, he was born, said to get the Philosopher's Stone, or maybe somebody helped him get it. And he was like so well read, and he had 40. He could speak 40 languages. He could play any instrument, and he was like always a guest of the kings and queens. High society, 1700s. Saint Germain was seen. 19th century Paris. He was also spotted by aristocrats. In the 20th century, in New Orleans, showed up and was playing, different instruments and speaking in 40 languages. So if it's the same guy, he must have got it right. Hi, Laura. Good to see you. Alchemist, Alchemist jewelry is quite odd. So very fun theories to think about where, okay, maybe this emerald tablet did exist and people like Plato and John Dee, Isaac Newton would talk about it and write about it, and then when it did disappear, so my best guess would be that it went to the Library of Alexandria in Egypt, and then it got, burnt up with everything else and disappeared. What's really interesting is we're finding more evidence that there may be underground caverns and things we've been. If you look it up, you'll probably see we have found a few things that may relate to the magical 40,000 to 700,000 scroll with tablets, scrolls, all the knowledge that disappeared. I don't think. I'm not sure about Julius Caesar burning it down. Some say Alexander the Great may have done something and done that. But it goes throughout history. The story splits off in so many directions. I wasn't sure where to go with it because that's so. It is like one of the biggest conspiracy theories because it spreads out through Egyptian pyramids, throughout time, throughout different gods worshipped. It gets even crazier with, are you gonna pee and distill it and make a philosopher's stone? So
Obviously, Nicholas
you,
Flamel did that shit.
you're the key to ultimate unlimited human life is your own urine. And if Nicholas Flamel created or found a philosopher's stone, did he actually like the weird stuff like that just gets me going. I think this is like one of the funnier ones and also one of the like then you also have to look at the other side. It's all just he said she said we don't know. Um, some of the other stuff though with like the people of the Golden Dawn, that whole like order, it's kind of like Freemasonry but even weirder. The fact that Thoth and the Egyptians from Atlantis, maybe Thoth came from Atlantis and brought the book to Egypt. They do say the pyramids may have been a little bit like older, and the Egyptians went and found the pyramids. So maybe thousands of years ago, the Atlanteans built those pyramids to store things or have a power source, and then the Egyptians went in and found it. Stuff like that is very interesting to me. I think we do have a history where magic, but it's really just science, was real, and we have lost a lot of it. But the fact that Plato was writing that the kingdom of Atlantis had 10 different kingdoms, and the children of light that lived on Atlantis, all said to be immortals or be able to reincarnate after 100 years. Um, and the Temple of Amonti at Atlantis, where Thoth was taught the hidden knowledge of the tablets. So there's actually more than just the Emerald Tablet, too. I believe there's 10 tablets. I don't know if they're all Emerald tablets or if they're orichalcum tablets, like the Atlantean metal, the special thing that ran Atlantis. It gets to the point where you start to question, like, how are we how are we supposed to know where to go when every conspiracy theory comes from that? Like, you're looking throughout history. It doesn't just make sense in one vein. I like the fact that we can actually see now we've dug, well, we didn't dig down, but we've scanned it with four different scientific research groups have proven there are things under the Great Pyramids and columns, tunnels, different rooms. Some of this starts to make sense throughout the world if we had like a power grid we might have done something like putting a gold cap on top of a pyramid. You need a big tower, and then in the ground had some type of power source where you could run energy off Earth's own magnetic field, like a stubble field Earth battery, which, if you look that up, that's even crazier. Um, Free energy, basically, free electricity. It's just Nikola Tesla gets involved with that, and then you're talking throughout the years, people just blocking that to be able to make money off of creating power. Uh, it, it gets to the point where I only wrote so much because I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to say else about it. Um, that tablet is only like 24 lines long or something, but has the key and it actually tells you a bunch of things about this Philosopher's Stone. You'd be pissed. I'm gonna try and make one. It'll take 3 to 8 years, but we'll see if I get any money out of it or unlimited wealth. So I did see another thing that was uh, under Atlantis, the Black Pyramid. Now that has a very similar thing to the Emerald Tablet, where you're inscribing stuff into a black tablet. The whole pyramid underneath Antarctica is supposed to be inscribed with like symbols and giving off power. And it does like have pulse of power. I think maybe the Emerald Tablet does the same thing, but this like the Black Pyramid under Antarctica, a few years ago, I remember hearing where time is warped in the center of Antarctica. So maybe that pyramid never got like shut down, or the actual tablet that needed to run that would be taken out. I don't know. That's a weird one because people over the years, Richard E. Byrd flew down to Antarctica and supposedly went over a zone where the Antarctic actually was green and there was life and mammoths and all sorts of stuff like that. And then he flew into inner Earth. Gets even crazier because now they're saying like you're you're in inner Earth and there's UFOs and that one is a whole different story. I've talked about it before, but if pyramid power is a real thing and different cultures over years have actually said yes that there are powers in different pyramids. I mean, if we look at our like big pyramids that we all know about, now they're starting to study this and look underground. There's columns, there's different voids and different rooms underneath. So we're slowly starting to prove that some of our ancient history, myths, legends, these conspiracy theories about this stuff is starting to make a little more sense. Um, it's not magic, it's science, but it is ancient science. And using unknown substances like orichalcum or we've found stuff with our own hadron colliders and the God particle. We've have found all sorts of weird shit. Hi, Fawn. Thanks for coming. So, just keep your eyes out. I think we're gonna find more Dead Sea Scrolls, Copper Scrolls, maybe Emerald Tablets. We're probably gonna find things that we have no clue that even existed. I really do hope people like look at that in a different light. I know it's ridiculous, like it's so far fetched, and it would be considered magic to them back then, thousands of years ago. But with every advancement of people today, we've found things hidden that are ancient civilizations. You can't deny that things are weirder than we even realize. That's my favorite part about all this. We have no idea what really was going on 14,000 years ago. What's up, hon?
Baby wipes.
I'm not sure. I'm sure we'll find more scrolls and tablets, but some of these theories are yeah. It it's ridiculous, but then you start to look at some of the evidence found nowadays. It starts to make more sense. Like, okay, we're starting to figure out more and more that the Egyptians probably had water wheel cutting technology, different technologies that we didn't know about. Battery power, obviously, and some type of electricity. You keep going further back, and I think they had even more technology. And then that younger Dryas happened, where the Earth flooded, the Great Flood myth, and things did change. We've forgotten. It's kind of like amnesia. And I think we can find out, like, how if we could power the Earth throughout our world without the like transformers and electrical wires. We're already starting to do that, but I think they had that a long time ago. Hi, Paul. uh, if urine turns into gold, what does shit turn into? Maybe that's the unlimited wealth, everlasting life. What up, Friday House? Yeah, and we can find this stuff and objects and other planets as possible, the next to star system things and the caps of many things. Yes, I can find my key half the time. So, if you can't find your keys, it'd be nice to have something that you could just bite into and, oh, you're gonna live for another 1,000 years. Platinum. If you found a bunch of platinum, that'd be nice. You need those key fobs to beep when you clap. You need a whole system just to detect the magic. I would like to also know why Isaac Newton was obsessed with it for 30 years. Um, I mean, if you're gonna do something like that, I mean, that he was one of the greats, and why would you study something like, or even John Dee or Edward Kelly? You have unlimited resources. Did you ever actually figure anything out? Part of the problem was it might have not been physical gold or physical like life source. It might have been a an actual like uh, I'd say spiritual situation where you unlimited happiness for yourself instead, and that's the magic of it. I don't know because there are people like Nicholas Flamel and John Dee and Edward Kelly that studied it for years and years, and still the Philosopher's Stone is just a legend. We don't know if it's real. Just gets crazy. Like Isaac Newton, I didn't know Isaac Newton was into that for 30 years. Um, the fact that we think maybe Knights Templar took it, or the Egyptian pyramids were built to store some of these type of items. Okay, or maybe the Vatican took it and it's in the secret vaults of the Vatican. I it just gets weirder and weirder when you look more and more into this, because it doesn't just go through one theory. You're looking throughout history and going into secret societies, Freemasons, the Knights of the Golden Dawn, like hermetic orders, and I don't know. I think it's one of the more interesting ones. It's it's almost up there with like seeing a ghost. It's up there with trying to see a Bigfoot. It's so far fetched, but then we're looking at it, and some evidence does start to point to that maybe we did have power systems in the past, old historic fucking power systems that we have no clue. And that doesn't even like start to explain, okay, why would so many like philosophers write about one subject of the Philosopher's Stone, the Emerald Tablet? There was a god that came to Egypt. All right, then you go to different cultures, and there are similar stories of someone coming and giving secrets of historical secret powers from China, South America. It goes everywhere. Pyramid power, all of this stuff ties into like one thing. So when legend and story go into one thing, and you look, it just gets so confusing. To me, I understand like a lot of this is just legend and fun to talk about, but cool background, thank you. I got a little Christmas tree. It's tiny and one bulb. Rob said maybe that's where the phrase came from. The same shit, different day. Came from. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna get out of here, but that was fun. I hope more people look into the Emerald Tablet, look into ancient history. I'm gonna go eat dinner. You guys have a great night. Happy holidays. Definitely a weird one. I gotta definitely look into more of the Count of Saint Germain, because he showed up over history, and maybe he ate some of the Philosopher's Stone, which is just pee, which is like a whole nother thing. Thanks, Friday. Have a great one, everyone. I'll probably do another one of these soon. I think before that, though, I'll probably go out and just. I don't know if I'm going to do Christmas lights or if I'm going to do investigation. It's been cold, crappy, and hard to investigate. I might just review some of my past investigations. But like, share, subscribe. Thank you, Tina. It's fine. Hope you guys have a great Christmas. I'll be back soon. we'll talk more about weird conspiracy theories. This could go. I could do the whole Count of Saint Germain. I could do Pyramid Power. I could do a whole nother one on just weird conspiracies out of this one. So I really do thank you all. You guys are amazing. Have a good night. Peace out.